Radio Chingalo so that we may be one through the cross. Kindly be informed that we are also streaming live on the Radio Chingalo Facebook page. Good afternoon. With the main news, I'm Justina. Matandiko, Mukuka. The headlines: raise awareness on human trafficking. Price of fertilizer worries farmers plus Zambia and Namibia to clash in the 2022 Africa Cup qualifier in Lusaka tomorrow. And now the main news in detail. International Organization for Migration Chief of Operations Mukuka has urged the media to take a leading role in raising awareness on the effects of human trafficking. Speaking at a 3-day media workshop in Kabwe, Ms. Nchuwe observed that Zambia is used as a transit country and destination for irregular migrants, asylum seekers, and accompanied children and victims of trafficking. Our staffer Gabriel Mumba reports that Ms. Nchuwe said journalists play a critical role in sensitizing and educating the public on how people are trafficked as migrants often become vulnerable to abuse and exploitation. At the same training, Information and Media Permanent Secretary Kennedy Kalunga said the country has in the recent past witnessed an increase in the number of vulnerable migrants, especially women and children.
Zambia is also affected and has reported many cases of human trafficking in recent years. Zambia has been known as a transit point because of its vast borderline with some of its neighbors. The media has a crucial role to play in sensitizing and educating the public, disseminating about how people are trafficked and those that survive the ordeal. It is through your work, such as exposing the people behind this vice, the tricks they use to lure innocent young men and women, and their final destination, which has made us come to convey here in Cabo.
We now get back to Ms. Nchuwe, the International Organization for Migration Chief of Operations.
The media are indispensable in educating people about the many manifestations of trafficking in persons. Furthermore, you have a responsibility to ensure that by taking a careful and informed approach to acceptance of advertisements, your outlets do not advertently assist traffickers to recruit and exploit people. Oftentimes, journalists and media outlets are not sufficiently aware of the trafficking phenomena and do not have sufficient understanding of the dimensions of the problem. As a result, some media coverage confuses the issue with others, such as migrant smuggling.
Farmers on the Copper Belt have bemoaned the high cost of fertilizer. Speaking to Radio Chingalo News in Ndola this morning, District Farmers Association Chairperson Julian Lamia said the high prices of the commodity and the current rainfall pattern may affect this year's crop yield. Mr. Lamia said farmers in the province have been complaining over the unstable price for fertilizer, particularly urea. Meanwhile, Mr. Lamia has advised farmers to work with agriculture extension officers in view of the rainfall pattern.
And the season rainfall did not start as expected from drought, that people planted early and went through the drought. The second one is the high cost of the fertilizer. So the farmers complained, especially urea. The price was just changing down there. And the pattern of rain was seen in Portugal. The rain is very well, but we don't know if it will cover the full coverage of the people who are going through there.
Insufficient number of desks at Kaposo Combined School in Chilabombwe is forcing some pupils to be learning while seated on the floor. Speaking to Radio Chingalo News in Chilabombwe, pupils at the school called on relevant authorities to consider looking into their plight. And school deputy head teacher Matilda Sakala Munjunga cited erratic water supply and inadequate teachers as some of the challenges at the school was facing. Honors Institute of Southern Africa Executive Director Sumuzi Sifile has implored media houses to consider giving more preference to female newsmakers. Our staffer Sarah Tamina reports that Mr. Sifile said this today when he opened a one-day media training on issues surrounding gender equality in the media industry being held at Mkango Golf View Hotel in Lusaka. He said there was need for media houses to strike a balance in their editorial content and appreciate female sources. Mr. Sifile also observed the need to address some barriers that hinder promotion of gender equality in the media, such as cultural beliefs, myths, sexual harassment, among others. As Zambia observed World Epilepsy Day yesterday, Kitwe District Mental Health Coordinator Chansa Chienge has observed the need to sensitize people on the condition. Epilepsy is a disorder in which the nerve cell activity in the brain is disturbed, thereby causing seizures in patients, and may occur as a result of genetic disorder or an acquired brain injury such as trauma or stroke. Speaking to Radio Ichengala News, Mr. Chienge explained that epilepsy is a mental health condition that can affect anyone. He has also advised people living with epilepsy to be seeking early treatment whenever they experience a seizure.
We're talking about the chronic illness, which is characterized by unprovoked seizures in a person. When we say unprovoked, what we mean is there is nothing which we can attribute the seizures to. They just come on their own. Okay? Because we have people who experience seizure as a result of several illnesses like malaria. Okay? The person who has malaria with the red fever, the child or even an adult can have fits or can be attributed to epilepsy. In epilepsy, the fits are there just on their own, and they will sort of recur. After some time, they recur without any possible cause.
Gender and land activist Pasco Kambafwile has urged citizens to take keen interest in ensuring that provisions for the 2021 land policy are implemented successfully. Mr. Kambafwile said the land policy launched last year has good provisions and can result in proper land management and administration in Zambia. He also urged the Ministry of Finance to timely release funds for the implementation of the land policy provisions. Speaking to Radio Ichengala News in Kabwe yesterday, Mr. Kambafwile further advocated for gender balance in land distribution.
The best that needs to happen in order for us to implement the provisions of the policy is that, first of all, at the time when we study the budget planning, we need to take keen interest and submit proposals to the Ministry of Finance to ensure that they make key provisions in terms of allocations to the Ministry of Lands to implement some of the provisions in the National Lands Policy. But also, the other thing that needs to be done is that some of the things that have to be rolled out to the provinces, they must start happening now because the policy was launched last year. It's almost a year, it will be a year, I think this May, before, like, for how long that we could have had the lands
The Drug Enforcement Commission says it recorded a reduction in the number of persons arrested for drug-related offences in 2021. DEC Public Relations Officer Matthias Kamanga revealed that 3,983 persons were arrested last year compared to 4,335 people arrested in 2020, indicating a reduction of 442. Mr. Kamanga added in a statement that of the 3,983 people arrested in 2021, men accounted for 3,634, while 259 were female, with 267 being juveniles and 85 foreign nationals. He said drugs seized in 2021 include 49 tons of cannabis compared to 2020, where 99.74 tons was seized, thus recording a 51% decrease. On money laundering investigations, the unit in 2021 investigated 219 money laundering related cases involving over 1 billion Zambian kwacha, over 54 million United States dollars, and over 23,000 euros. In sports, Zambia and Namibia are set to clash in the 2022 Africa Cup qualifier at Nkoloma Stadium in Lusaka tomorrow. Chipolopolo will host Namibia in the first leg match of the Africa Women's Cup qualifier with the aim of utilizing home advantage. Namibia is already in the country for tomorrow's match. Namibia coach Woody Jacobs said his team was in Zambia to qualify for the Africa Cup.
We are not to come and do formalities. We are here to fight Zambia. Yes, Namibia and Zambia has historical ties in terms of the history that we share, in terms of the liberation fight, the fight for the liberation of the independence of Namibia. But all those pleasantries will be put aside when we do better together. And the football animation of Zambia will witness the president. We are called the land of the brave, and we're not called the land of the brave for nothing. So yes, we respect our opponent so much, but we also know it's a football match, and a football match needs to be played. And whenever we step on the pitch, we have to always try and do our best. In terms of the football structure and football pedigree, we are members against Zambia. We know that, and we know we're punching above our weight.
Zambia coach Bruce Moape has declared Chipolopolo ready for Namibia.
We actually learned something from that game, which we've been working at after the post-match meeting. So the team is actually ready for tomorrow's encounter against Namibia.
Chipolopolo coach Bruce Moape. This news broadcast comes to you in the community service of Radio Ichengelo with compliments of Moose Milling. And our international news is monitored from the BBC.
The men's world number one tennis player Novak Djokovic has said he's willing to miss the French Open and Wimbledon if that's the price for refusing to get a COVID jab. In an exclusive interview with the BBC, the world's top-ranking men's tennis player distanced himself from the anti-vaccination movement, but insisted everyone had the right to choose what to put in their body.
I understand that tennis has the freedom to choose, whether you want to get vaccinated or not. And I have not spoken about this before, and I have not disclosed my medical record and my vaccination status because I had the right to keep that private and discreet. But as I see, there's a lot of wrong conclusions and assumptions out there. I think it's important to speak up about that and justify certain things.
The owner of an Islamic boarding school in Indonesia has been sentenced to life in prison for the rape of 13 pupils. The abuse came to light when the family of a student reported Heri Wirawan to the police when they discovered she was pregnant. Students aged between 11 and 16 were assaulted over a 5-year period. 9 babies were born from 8 victims. 1 victim gave birth twice. Iran had confiscated their phones and home visits were allowed only rarely. New rules have come into force in Italy requiring all workers over the age of 50 to be double vaccinated against COVID-19. Unless they can produce what has been called a super green pass, they will not be allowed to enter their place of work. After 5 days off, employees will be suspended and have their pay frozen.
That item brings us to the end of our main news. We take a look at our headlines. Raise awareness on human trafficking. Price of fertilizer worries farmers plus Zambia and Namibia to clash in the 2022 Africa Cup qualifier in Lusaka tomorrow. For these and more stories, you can visit our Facebook page, log on Facebook and visit our page. Remember to play your part in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic by adhering to the safety guidelines as outlined by the Ministry of Health and the World Health Organization. Wear a mask when in public. Avoid large groups and maintain social distance. Wash your hands frequently for at least 20 seconds. Avoid unnecessary movements and always remember to cover your cough or sneeze with a flexed elbow, handkerchief or tissue. And if you can, to take the vaccine. On behalf of the entire news team, Vernon Sakala, our sound technician on duty, my name is Justina Matandiko Mukuka, wishing you a wonderful afternoon.